Hello and welcome to another Wargame Red Dragon video with me, Bubblebox, and today we're going to continue with our deck building series. Bubble and Silver do decks, but Silver Raptor isn't here today. He's having a bit of a sabbatical, but we have got a special guest, one of the more popular Wargame YouTubers out there on the internet. It's Vulcan from Vulcan HD Gaming, whose link's in the description below. Hi Vulcan.
Hello there. Nice. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for agreeing for coming to do the Commonwealth decks. I've watched a few of your videos, well, a lot of your videos actually, and I know that the Commonwealth deck is your favourite. So briefly, why, without giving us all with everything that's in your deck straight away, what's it about the Commonwealth deck you like, or is it just because there's a lot of Brits in it?
I really like the way that the Commonwealth deck works on the ground. I'm not so much a fan of like air combat in this game. So what I find with the Commonwealth deck especially is that it works really well with what I like to call the 3-push strategy, which is like recon, tanks and AA. And it's just really, really good for that. I just love the tanks in the deck.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting actually just to see what you have got compared to me, because I've got kind of a similar idea about the Commonwealth in that it's quite, I like to keep everything fairly compact on the map moving forward together, and I know about your 3-push strategy, so yeah, and that kind of does work with this deck, I think. So shall we kick off with the logistics? Do you want to tell us what you've got as your command or your commands?
Well, I've got two commands. I've got the HQ section in the Lynx AH7 and I've got the Grizzly CP.
Cool. I've actually gone for one of the old favourites of mine, the FV105 Sultan. The reason I got that is it is 130 points, but it is fairly nippy over ground if it can get out of trouble, and it's got a little bit of armour really. They're the main reasons I got that. I've got 4 of those and I've just got the one command.
Right. The reason I've got the Grizzly CP is it's actually like a better Sultan in my opinion. You still get 4 of them. They are faster. They have faster road speed and faster off-road speed. They're also amphibious, like they have 50 km/h speed on water, which is really, really useful for certain sectors. And also they have a better machine gun in general. So
yeah, good point. I actually missed the
CP.
amphibious part of that when I was looking at those two.
Yeah.
So that's really useful if you're trying to sneak across a bit of water to get out of a sector. Yeah, I think I did miss that, but I think mainly I got it because of the little bit of extra armor if you get artillery. But again, that doesn't make a lot of difference because the top armor's still 1 anyway. So yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I prefer a mobile CV over a more like armored CV.
Yeah. And what have you got for your logistics?
I've only got 1 unit of logistics. I've got obviously the FOB in the deck, and I've got a CH-47C Chinook, the New Zealand variant, because it actually holds 1,000 more supply than the British variant. I think you get less of them, but that's pretty much all I use. I use them as like a sort of halfway house for supply throughout the game.
Cool. I've got pretty much, I think it's pretty much the same chopper, just a different variant. I've got the Canadian CH-147 cargo, exactly the same.
It's exactly the same, yeah.
Yeah, I like them with a bit more supply so I don't have to micro things around too much. Just got to be a bit careful with them, not to get them exposed. But I do like choppers that have got a bit more supply and not so many, so you don't have to micro them around too much. I've got the FOB as well, the British variant, of course, and I've got a set of Mancati 6.6s as well. I get these because I do like in most of my decks to have choppers and trucks, basically, is the only reason. And so I've got my 4 slots filled there. So you've just got 3 slots in the logistics. Interesting. Okay. Shall we move on?
No, I've got the HQ section as well.
Oh, you've got the 2
commands.
commands.
The HQ section as well.
Yeah, you've got the 2 commands, haven't you? So you've got your infantry command squad as well. Ah, superb. Okay, good.
And I brought it in the
Lynx.
I brought it in the Lynx AH7 because the Lynx AH7 has like it's so much more versatile. You can actually use it throughout the game.
Yeah, it is actually useful, and obviously you're going to bring out a command at the beginning of the game, and you've got a chopper you can use as well. So yeah. So we'll move on to the infantry, and I'm imagining you've got the SAS. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Oh right. Well, I'll start off then. I've got 2 packs of SAS. both in Lynx AH1s because you get a few more. I'll tell you briefly why I like them. I like them because they are versatile. They're all in Lynxes. They're good against basic infantry, basic rifle infantry, I find. They're also good against lightly armoured trucks, and they're of course very good against like helicopters and stuff. They can snipe them down as well. I bring them out early game and I can, you know, officially take a position is my idea with them. So what have you got on your infantry then? This is going to be interesting.
Well, the reason I don't take SAS is because they don't have a machine gun, and I think that really lets them down. Yeah, they have the 2 armaments, but I much prefer, like, in my case, for, like, elite infantry, I have the Commandos 90 from the Australians, and I also have the Gurkhas in the Saxons.
Okay, yeah, I do like the Gurkhas as well. I like them, although I haven't got them in this particular deck. That's interesting. I've actually got as my other main kind of infantry Royal Marine 90s. I don't know what you think about them, but I've got one set in Saxons and one set in Lynx AH1s just for a bit more flexibility. They have got close quarters machine gun, and they'd be my main kind of infantry building fighting kind of unit really. What do you think about the Marines 90s?
I prefer the Gurkhas 90s. Like, I think the Gurkhas 90s are like a better version of the Royal Marines, because although the Royal Marines are elite trained, I always find shock training is a lot more effective in town situations.
Okay, yeah, I've never really tested that out, to be honest, differences between lock, shock and elite in towns. I've also just noticed that the Gurkha 90s do have a strength of 15
Yes,
over the
indeed.
strength of 10, which I didn't notice before, so that might be something. I'm not going to swap them out or anything, because it is tempting, but I'll keep them. But yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that both, yeah.
The biggest difference is the main weapon. The accuracy drops by 30% on the Gurkhas. But they do have the same AT weapon and the same machine gun, so...
Yeah, cool. What else have you got then in the infantry department?
I've got the Fusilier 90s, mainly just to add bulk, you know, just mainly as defensive troops most of the time. You sort of bring them in to support your sectors. They're really good in towns. And I've also got the Milan Tues, and I've got a Javelin GL squad as well.
Okay. Oh, Javelin GLs. Okay. I've actually got some RBS 70s. Where's the Javelin GLs? So the Javelin GLs, I'm just pin up the Javelin GLs, have a look at those. I've got the RBS 70. Yeah, I tend, when I pick like anti-air infantry, I kind of go for less and more powerful generally. I don't know how they stack up against the Javelins. Have you gone for the Javelin so you get a few more? Because I have also got
the Javelin GL have 5 HE power. The RBS 70 only have 4, but the RBS 70 have a longer range.
Okay, yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah, I normally go for a bit for the range as well. Cool, excellent. Have you got any more infantry? I think that's about it, is it?
Yeah. Just the reason I just have Milans and Javelins instead of like combined squads of like SAS, for instance. Like SAS like good at like close range AT and anti-air, whilst I prefer to have squads that are specific for either.
Yeah, cool. So shall we move on to the
That's just how it worked out.
Yeah, very interesting support that the Commonwealth deck has currently got. What you can kick off there with whatever you want to kick off with.
So I've got Challenger and Chieftain marksmans. I just absolutely love these since they added them in the game. Like, the Challenger marksmans, they barely fail to miss. It's just they've got 50% accuracy, but because of like the rate of fire, they just constantly hitting their target. And the range against helicopters 2,800 meters, which is like the max amount you can get, which is really, really good. And even against airplanes, it's 2,625 meters. The same weapon system on the Challenger, on the Chieftain marksman, sorry, it's just a worse hull. So you may as well get both.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I do like these, although I haven't got them in my deck. I do, I have to say. The only reason is I flipping hate micro-ring radar, but I suppose if you've got them on a hotkey, you'll be okay. But I just can't stand like micro-ring radar when they have to be near the front personally. But they are really, like you say, really fast firing, and they rarely miss a chopper. Rarely miss a chopper. And they're quite good actually against infantry. If they can get hits on infantry, I find them to be really good against infantry as well.
Yes, very good ground support as well.
Yeah, yeah. So is that all your anti-air? Is it you've got?
I've also got the tracked rapier FSA, and
All
so
right,
all
okay.
of my anti-air is radar.
Yeah,
Just because I've got used to turning it on and off.
yeah, cool. I've actually gone for the pretty commonplace ADATs, the M113 ADATs. I know you like your
The three push strategy.
the three push strategy. I find these can get involved in that because obviously they can shoot at ground units and helicopters, although you don't want them to get too close to the front line because their armour is pretty poor and the enemy do tend to target these because they're quite expensive as well.
Yes.
Which is a problem. So I tend to try to keep these back if I can, although it does require a bit of micromanaging as well if you're pushing up with tanks with these things. So yeah, but I've got actually two. Yeah, go ahead.
That's the good thing about like challengers and chieftain and marksmans is they are like extremely like robust. They have the 15 and 11 front armor.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. The ADATs, although they're brilliant, I think do lack very much in the armor. They get sniped very easily by mortars and artillery and all sorts of things. I've actually though gone for these, and I've got two sets of 4. I've got them at hardened just to increase that accuracy a bit because I want most of their missiles to hit, especially if they're shooting at armored vehicles and at the air units as well. So I've gone for 8 of those at hardened. In fact, and I've also got Wolverines. You might say these are kind of just like infantry units, like with wheels on, I guess, and yeah, infantry units with wheels on. But I do like them. Because they're quite nippy. They can get around. They can go through forests. They can snipe stuff that's flying over the forests. I just quite like them. You get quite a lot of them, and they're only 35 points.
Yeah,
what do you think about
cheap,
those
cheap and maneuverable. It's like the perfect combination. Just especially with the 5 HE power on the like AA weapon. Like I don't use them personally because I rely a lot on my infantry AA, but yeah, it's definitely good. They're very similar. Well, they remind me of the VBR Mistral from the French.
Yeah, cool. Artillery wise, what have you gone for there?
I got the AS90s and the M125A1 mortars from the Australians. On the Anzac.
I've got the AS90s as well. Exactly the same. I really like
basically
these.
The AS90 is just like a beast. You've got to have it on this deck. It's the best artillery piece you can pick up. It's got quite a decent dispersion rating, nice 7 HE power, very, very long range, great for just pinning down or destroying like enemy aircraft or anti-aircraft, and also stunning tanks and stuff. It's just great all-rounder. And then the M125A1 mortar carrier, really I've got it there for just smoking most of the time, and obviously infantry fire support. It helps pinning down an infantry squads that are moving across the open or in villages, you know.
Yeah, and I've got the AS90s as well. That they say they're probably they are probably the best, one of the best on the Blue Force side, apart from maybe the Caesars. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, these are pretty
the Paladins are pretty good.
Yeah. They also seem to fire fairly rapidly to me, so you only have to get if you've got 2 of them, a quick salvo, and then you can move them quite quickly without them getting kind of counter batteried. They seem to fire really fairly fast, even though it only says 4. They do seem to pop off a few rounds quite rapidly. And I've also got the Bison 81mm of the Canadians for my mortars. Don't know why I picked these over any other really, because they're all kind of much of a muchness, but I did want mortars again for smoking and rooting out some infantry and stuff like that. The same reasons as you really. So I think that's about it for the support.
Well, one thing to note just before we move on is the Bison 81mm and the British mortars actually have a much slower rate of fire than the Canadian and Anzac mortars.
Just don't know.
So that's why I definitely prefer the Anzac mortars.
Cool. Okay, that's worth noting as well. I'm learning a lot today. Vulcan. It's going to improve my gameplay no end. Right. My gameplay's not too bad actually. It's maybe I'm picking some of the wrong units though. So let's move on to the tanks, the big boys. Uh, well, what have you got? I'll let you go first before I tell you what I've got. What have you got?
I've of course got the infamous Challenger 2 on my deck. I absolutely love that thing. It's
Yeah,
something that you only pull out on special occasions because you don't actually get much chance to use it much because it does get like super focused if you bring it out.
yeah,
However, the 23 front armor is just ridiculous. It's so hard to take out.
yeah.
Like, I just love the thing. And following that, I've got the Challenger 1 Mark III, the second most expensive Challenger, just
Okay.
as sort of like a backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's still got 20 front armor, and it's just a beast.
Yeah,
They
it's
both-
it's,
they
it's
both
still a
got
beast. Yeah.
Yeah, they both got extremely high accuracy. Challenger 2 is like 70% accuracy with 65% stabilizer, so it's extremely accurate on the move as well. With the 22 AP power, yeah, it doesn't really get much better than that on the NATO side.
Yeah,
or
I was
Blue
gonna
Force
I was
side.
gonna say, do you think it's the best tank in the Blue 4?
It's on par with the Leopard 2A5, I would say.
Yeah, I love the Leopard 2A5 as well. Yeah, yeah. The Abrams can, go and do one. I like the German and the British
Yeah.
tanks are amazing. So I've got the Challenger 2s. Of course I have two of them. Then I was looking more at price so that I've got something high price, something medium price, something low price that I can bring in. My medium price, I've actually gone for the Challenger 1 Mark 1s. I was tempted, I don't know why those over the others. It was just the price. So I've got one at around 100 points that I can bring in. And then I've got the Chieftain Mark 2s. Now I don't know what you think about these, an older tank, but the armor's kind of okay, but the AP power is still decent at 19 and the actually still 60%. What do you think?
I tell you what I really hate about the Chieftains
Yeah,
is
go on.
their really, really slow off-road speed.
Right.
Bugs me so much.
Okay.
In comparison, I bring in the Leopard AS1s from the Anzac because they have 65% off-road speed, and they actually have, like, for 10 points more, they go from 40% to 65% accuracy on their gun. They go from 15% to 50% stabilizer, 13 AP power to 16 AP power,
Yeah.
and although the Chieftain has better HE power, like that, all of that other stuff, including an increased rate of fire actually on the Leopard, is just something you can't really miss out on.
Yeah. Yeah. I've just pinned them. Yeah, I'm just comparing them now, and yeah, I'm tempted to swap them now, but I won't. I'll stick with what I got. And they're so much cheaper. 50 points. The AS1 Plus. Yeah, 50
It's
points.
ridiculous. And
Yeah.
then I've also got the Leopard C2 Mexus, which is the Canadian Leopard, which is another absolute beast. It's extremely good value for money. That's sort of my medium range tank that I prefer to use.
Okay, 75 points. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah.
It's
very
sort of
nice.
a sizable increase from the Leopard AS1 because of the huge armor increase. It's basically like a armor plated Leopard AS1, so it's much better for taking on other
Cool.
tanks.
Yeah. So is that it for your tanks? You've got quite a lot of tanks.
Yeah, 4
Yeah.
cards of tanks.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
got 3 cars, but yeah. Okay, so but good for your pushes. Reconnaissance wise, I'm sure we've got some differences in our reconnaissance. Now, although it might not have with the first one, I don't know what you think about this, but I've gone for the Gazelles. Quite expensive, but really, really nice recon if you're careful.
Yeah, it's risky. They're expensive, and you don't get many of them. They get shot down very easily. They only have 4 health, and they're just so risky. That's why I don't personally like having them on the deck.
Yeah, well, I've got them anyway. I kind of I've loved these since Airland Battle and stuff. I've liked
Yeah.
these things. Definitely probably would have taken them in Airland Battle, but
For
there
sure.
there are alternatives in this in Red Dragon. But I just like them. I know that they do get targeted with artillery and mortars, and I have to keep moving them around because as soon as they're spotted, there's an artillery shell coming in to try and take them out. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've also got these. I don't know what you think about these either. Be interested in your opinion. I've gone for the ferrets, the FV217 ferret with its swing fire missiles. I know you don't like. I know you don't like recon with weapons, but these swing fires I find are pretty good. What do you think?
Okay, the reason I wouldn't take these again is their price. Like, it's a unit that shouldn't have a weapon, in my opinion. Like
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
I'm definitely like a fan of the ferret because it's really small and it can sort of sit there and find out tons of information. Like, even though the like lesser variants have less optics, they only have good optics, whereas the ferret with the swing fire has very good optics. I still think that the smaller ferret is better, but I actually don't have on my deck though.
Okay. Cool. What have you got then?
Well, for the helicopter, I've actually got the AS-350 from the Anzac.
Uh-huh.
It's got six health, so you can sort of get away with taking an infrared shot to the face and getting it away, which is always useful, so you don't have to waste so many helicopters. You also get 6 of them, I think, instead of 4 that the Gazelles get.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
So yeah, I just prefer having that. It's very good optics instead of exceptional optics, but I think that helicopter recon doesn't benefit really from exceptional optics because you still see just as far because of the break in line of sight.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I never really thought about that, to be honest. Right, what else have you got? Have you got any more recon?
As for my ground like recon, instead of you having the ferret, I actually make use of the quite expensive LRPV Parenti, which is another Anzac unit. It's basically like a truck, but it has a grenade launcher on it. And I know I'm like sort of contradicting what I said about having like an armed recon, but this thing is incredibly good at supporting like infantry, attacking other infantry. So especially in like a pushing situation where you're pushing into like a forest, if you have like a line of infantry and you have like one of these behind, the grenade launcher is just amazing fire support. Range versus ground, 1,225 meters. Is completely out of range of like your standard heat rockets. So just great there, and it provides that exceptional recon as well. So you can use it in certain situations as well.
Yeah, it is a very, very nice unit. Again, got to be a bit careful with it as a recon unit, no armor, but yeah, it is a really nice unit. Have you got any more recon?
I've actually got 2 more units.
Yeah.
I have the Recce.
I've got that as well. Yeah. What have you got that in?
Just such brilliant snipers. I've got them in the Bisons.
Okay, I've got mine in CH-147 choppers, but I do like these, probably for the same reason as you. They're just stealthy.
Yeah, the reason I have them in the Bisons is mainly due to like the extra armor, just so that the squad doesn't get popped on the way to wherever it's going. The thing I find great about the Recce is they can stay like hidden while still firing. Like any 2-man squad pretty much has that benefit.
Yeah.
So just great at dealing with infantry that comes out in the open. They have a reasonably fast rate of fire on that sniper that just does so much damage to infantry squads. It even has AP power, so like you can catch out trucks and stuff with it, and it's just superb.
Yeah, yeah. And your last one is?
I've got the No Force or Nor Force. It's pretty much they're not a great unit, but just for the purpose of having an abundance of recon infantry.
Yeah.
Just really useful.
What have you got them in?
They're coming in the ASLAB PC just for the maneuverability.
Right. Yeah, I've actually done a similar thing, but I've got the green jackets for the British green jackets in pins Gowers, just to, like you say, to spread around the map and keep an eye on everything. Really. Just
see, the thing is with like again, the ASLAB PC is amphibious. Like I always like since Red Dragon, I really like focused on amphibious stuff, and it's so useful to have that maneuverability in certain maps.
Right, so when we play, we better find some maps with some big ponds on then, so you can use it. Right, or some nice rivers. Is that it for your recon? I think that's 4 each we've got there. Let's move on to the vehicles. What have you got in your vehicles tabs?
The LAV-3 Tour, with the lovely 70% accurate HGM with 25 AP power. very, very powerful, maneuverable HGM platform.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that thing.
What's the armor like on that?
So it's very low. It's one of
Mm.
those sort of like things that can get popped by, especially Russian armor,
Yeah.
with the longer range. Like if it gets countered by HGMs, then you know you can be in trouble. But it's
Yeah.
good against tanks that don't have HGMs.
Yes, yes. For my main, I suppose anti-tank you'd call it, I don't bring this out very often, but I have got the Strikers. Not the best accuracy in the world, but they have got 10 missiles anyway. But I just like the AP power. Again, not well armoured, but they're my main anti-tank kind of, if someone's pushing anti-tanks up against me. Oh, tanks
That
up
that
against me.
that swing fire missile system is just a beast. The firing rate of those is just ridiculous. That's what's so great about them.
Yeah. And have you've got more vehicles, I assume?
Yes, I've got 2 cards of Vickers Mark 11s.
Okay, yeah, I
These
thought.
are the new addition to the Commonwealth in this DLC.
Yeah,
So I literally picked them up straight away as soon as I heard about them. They were much better value for money. I think they increased the price of them recently.
yeah,
Um, Obviously, that's all subject to change still, but the accuracy on them, the 60% accuracy and the 17 AP power, although they're not very well armored, they're just great at picking off units from distance, and it can really catch people out.
yeah. I've got a stack of them as well, and I like the 55% stabilizer as well. You can use them on the
Yes.
they'll fire on the move as well, and they've got a bit of armor, not amazing, but a little bit. And they're
Incredibly
fast.
maneuverable.
They're fast as well. Yeah, very maneuverable. So a nice unit, and I see everyone having these in their decks now as well. I see a lot of these all the time. So, any more?
Nope, that's all for me.
That's all for me as well. So we'll move on to the helicopters. For me, not the best helicopters in the world, but
No.
I'm assuming you've got the links, yeah?
The Lynx 3?
The links free, sorry, yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I've got that as well. Just really nice stingers and hellfire. Well, the hellfire's amazing, aren't they? So,
Yeah, and it's the only helicopter in the Commonwealth that offers anti-helicopter support.
yeah. Any other helis?
I also have the CH 118 gunships from the Canadians.
Okay, yeah.
These are incredibly good at harassing convoys. Like at the start of the game, you bring in a couple of these, you fly them forwards with a recon. You see them where like the troops are coming up,
Yeah.
and you find like people always do those like pockets of troops that are like much less supported than their main army.
Yeah.
These can just go wreck them. It's the 40% accuracy on the heat rockets with the like only with the 2 AP power. There's no HE power, so they just rip through APCs, and that's literally what they're good for because they just blow up the infantry while they're still in the APCs because you generally catch people out. And then if people get out of the APCs, then they get ripped to shreds by the minigun, which has a rate of fire of 2,758 rounds per minute.
Yeah. Pretty immense.
They're just
Yeah.
incredible.
So I don't know what you think about this, but I couldn't really see any amazing choppers. Although now you've pointed that out, it does have a role for those particular gunships. I had like a couple of points left over when I'd finished building my deck, so I got the Lynx A8 720 millimeters.
Yeah.
I've used these before. They're they're decent against ground units, and they're also, if they can get close enough, not too bad against other helicopters as well. And they're only 30 points. And also, I can if I've got points saved up, I can kind of spam these at the end of a game and try and snipe someone's CV out of a place or something. So
I
they're
would
yeah.
I would not recommend these against other helicopters. I generally find they fail quite hard in that respect. But what they
Yeah.
are really good for is as air support for like towns that aren't defended by infrared AA, and
Yeah.
also they are good for like sneaking around the edge of the map. Like, just a couple of them, probing for CVs, that kind of thing. Really good to just catch people out. That is sort of like the other choice that I would have instead of the gunships. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. And they are, of course, AP powered as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So shall we move on to the aircraft?
Yeah.
Now, have you got any aircraft? Because I know you're going for your strategy.
Yes, I actually do. I have. It's kind of weird. I don't use many aircraft. Like I only have technically 4 aircraft I can use throughout the whole game. So I have obviously the F-111C, as your viewers want us to say it.
Allegedly,
with
it's called that, yeah.
1,000 kilogram bombs.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing aircraft. The only thing that really lets it down is the 10% ECM.
Yeah, I get this shot down so often. You just get tempted. You just
Yes.
see a big blob, you get tempted, and you get shot down. It happens time and time again. I never learn my lesson, but yeah, it's an awesome plane.
Yeah, then I have to support them. I have the my favorite seed aircraft in the game, which is the EF-101B Electric Voodoos. These things are just amazing value for money. 90 cost. You can bring in 2 with 1 card, and they have 50% accuracy with like the 20 AP power on the seed missile, and it's just, you bring in both of them at the same time generally, and they will literally destroy any seed that's on the map, as long as the radar, is turned on. And then you can pave a way for your lovely big bomber to come in and deal the damage that you need.
Yeah, I've got 2 of these as well, and I like them because of the survivability factor more than anything else with their 50%.
Yes,
ECM.
50% ECM for the 90 cost is just too good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're unlucky and you get shot down, but often they'll fly around taking hit after hit. Yeah, and I've got the F-111s as well. Have you got any other planes?
I, of course, have the Eurofighter Typhoon, probably one of my favourite aircraft in the world.
I remember that. Yeah, you're always bringing that out in your videos. I do remember. Yeah,
Yeah, 50% ECM again, 1,000 km/h speed, exceptional air detection, amazing armaments. It's just the best, in my opinion, the best aircraft in the game.
Yeah, I do like it, but I haven't got it in my deck because the reason is because I've got loads of AA, I've got SAS, I've got the Infantry AA, I've got ADATs and Wolverines. I've got enough, I don't need to worry about microing big planes around at the back and being quite careful with them when they cost 175 points. But yeah, but it is an awesome air superiority fighter for sure.
I've just had games where you bring this in and it shoots down like 4 aircraft in a row, and it just doesn't get better than that. Just watching it glide around, dodging all the missiles, getting onto everyone's tail. It's so maneuverable. It has like such a good turning circle, I think, as well. So it's
300,
just
300, which is really tight for such a fast aircraft.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Now I've got one more plane, and it'll be I've got 2 more actually, so I've got 4 in total. I've got the A4 K Kahoos. I use these because I just find them quite efficient despite the 125 point price tag. I just find them a really nice anti-tank weapon. The ECM's not too bad, although I do get them shot down quite a lot. It doesn't seem to be 30% when I play them. But they're just really good at shooting tanks, in my opinion. What do you think?
Well, the thing is with the Kai is it's really slow, and that's what gets it shot down. Its time over target is too long, in my opinion, for it to be like really effective unless you've cleared like all the AA in the area.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't ever bring this in. No, like the F-111s, I wouldn't bring this in if I knew there was like loads of radar AA sitting at the back somewhere or anything like that. No, this thing's going to go down.
Yeah.
If most of the AA's finished, or I know I've taken out a Tunguska or 2, I might chance this against maybe a T-90 or something like that, just to see if I can snipe it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And the other plane I've got is a bit of an afterthought. I know it's not the best plane in the world, but I like to have a Napalm Bomber in my decks. And I've got the MB339CB Napalm Bomber. Not the best Napalm Bomber in the world. It hasn't got any ECM. It is slow, but I would never bring this out. I only bring this out endgame to finish people off, basically.
It's such a derpy looking fighter. I don't think I would ever bring it on my deck just because of that.
Yeah, those bombs, they look correct. Yeah, I know.
It does look ridiculous. But yeah, I get what you mean about needing napalm. One thing that really does shut down the Commonwealth deck is like infantry that's better than your infantry.
Yeah.
Like Spetsnaz. It's just Spetsnaz in one word. It just
Yeah,
really
exactly.
do mess up the Commonwealth deck.
Yeah, they do. They do. I think that's it for all my aircraft. I assume that's it for yours, yeah?
Indeed, yeah.
We'll very quickly go for the Navy because we're not really going to be using the Navy probably in our games because it's more about the Commonwealth units. But basically, very quickly, I've just gone for an LCU, Super Hornets, ASUW, Exocet, artillery, and Super Pumas, just in case we end up on a water map and I need to respond to their Navy rather than produce one of my own.
I've had this sitting here for a while. I haven't changed my naval in ages, but generally the way I look at it is spam wins. And at the end of the day, I have the LCU to resupply my ships, but then I have 3 ships cards. I actually have the Congo and then 2 cards of Lafayette. And the reason that people should use these all the time is because the Lafayette and the Congo are the 2 ships on the Blue Force side that fire in volleys of 4 with their missiles. So if you can time having 4 Lafayettes fire onto one target, that's 16 missiles flying in the direction, and they're extremely powerful missiles, and they will just wipe out ships, no problem.
I never fail. It never fails to. I won't say excite me, but you know what I mean. When I see the Lafayettes volley off a load of anti-ship missiles and then sort of spin round and then volley off another load, it's quite a good sight.
Yeah, and with the Congo, they just complement each other so well because the Congo has that and the decent anti-air that the Lafayette, also has, I guess. The Lafayette's decent on the.
But they just run out quickly, don't they? I can't remember the name of the missile. Side. It just hasn't got enough, has it? Yeah.
And then I have the Lynx AHS Tues as well. Just literally helicopter anti-ship missiles spammed are generally hard to avoid. Cool. I might use that slot for a Tomcat, because Tomcats are actually just pure anti-air. And if you do get a land map which has a part naval, you can just use that as an extra slot for an anti-air aircraft.
Yeah, man, you've already got your Eurofighters. I mean, how many points you going to spend? I understand. Yeah, great.
But that would be an excuse to take the Eurofighter off the deck.
Yeah. So I think that's about it for the deck. Now, we do have one thing that me and Silver usually do at the end of these videos, and you have to pick your favourite unit, and you're only allowed one. I've sprung this on you a little bit because I'm not giving you really time to think about it.
I already
know. Go ahead.
It's gonna be the Challenger 2. This thing is the prime piece of munitions in my 3-push strategy. That is what it's all about. You got one of these supported by the rest of my tanks, and that is just going to be popping targets for days. I absolutely love that thing. Just exceptional.
Yeah, excellent. I'm really glad you picked that. Now, I'm going to pick... Sometimes I don't always go for the absolute best unit, but I sometimes go for the kind of cost-effective, what I think is a cost-effective unit. You're not going to agree with me because I'm going to go for the SAS because I love them. I use them all the time. I fly them all over the map. I snipe things with them. They're so maneuverable. They're really fast across the ground. I'm afraid I love them, and I'm going to pick them as my best unit. So I hope you don't mind that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay, right, okay, say no more. Right, okay, well thanks very much, Vulcan, for joining us. Have you got anything else you'd like to add about the Commonwealths?
No, that's pretty much it, I guess.
Cool. Now, I know you've said you're going to play a couple of games with us with your Commonwealth deck, so we're going to look forward to that. Thanks very much for joining us. Please check out his channel. Yeah, please check out his channel, Vulcan HD Gaming, and we'll see you in the next one.